Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Automation Loop. I'm Priyanka. So in one of my previous video, I have presented how you can start your journey into RPA, also how you can learn UiPath. In that video, I have suggested to go to UiPath Academy, start your foundation course, download UiPath Studio and practice the use cases. So if you haven't watched the video yet, go and watch the video for complete roadmap to learn UiPath. So UiPath Academy have a plenty of use cases, and to add on top of it, I'm creating this video. So in this video, we are going to implement some of the use cases related to different topics such as web automation, file automation, email, and Excel automation. So this video is good to start your hands on, and gradually in upcoming video, we will implement some advanced use cases such as API automation, desktop automation, RE framework, etc. So watch the video till end, and without any further delay, let's get started. So the first use case is unicorn name generator. And the problem statement is we will create one Excel sheet in which list of names and birth month will be present, and then we will navigate to URL of unicorn name generator app provided by UiPath. Then we will enter the name and birth month one by one, and we will get the unicorn name for the respective name, and we will store it against the each name back to the Excel sheet. So let's move to the implementation. To start, let's create the process. Called unicorn name generator. Let's click on create. So let's create the Excel sheet in which a list of names and birth month will be present under this project folder. So this Excel sheet will be having a three field called name, birth month, and unicorn name. So let's put dummy data. So we are going to pass name and birth month to unicorn name generator app, and it will return the unicorn name which will store it in this column. So let's save this Excel sheet to the project folder. So I'm storing this Excel sheet in the project folder itself with name unicorn names. Now let's back to the process. So here let's drag one sequence, and under the sequence let's drag one open browser activity. Let's select the browser type Chrome and pass the unicorn name generator URL here in double quotation. So after navigating to the browser, we have to read the data from Excel sheet, right? So to do that, let's drag Excel application scope, because if we have to perform any Excel activity, it should be within Excel application scope. Here we have to select the workbook path that we have just created, and we are going to select this Excel sheet. Click open. Now, so we have selected the Excel sheet. Now we have to read the data from the Excel sheet. To read it, we are going to use read range activity. So read range activity will read the data from Excel sheet and it will store the data into the data table. So let's create the data table by pressing Ctrl K. Let's say unicorn name. So we have created the data table. So now we have to pick each of the name and the birth month and pass it to the unicorn name generator app. To do that, we have to iterate the data. So let's drag the activity of data table for each row in data table here and pass the data table that we have created. After that, we have to pass the name and birth month to Unicorn Name Generator app. So let's drag the type into activity here and select the area where we will pass the name. Now we will be passing the names from this column, which is name. So let's access the each row by providing the expression current row dot item and inside double quotation column name, which is names from the Excel sheet, and dot toString. So this is how we can pass the each value of name column to this text box. So let's do the same for birth month. Let's drag one type into activity here. Let's select the area where we are selecting the birth month. And we will be passing the birth month by accessing current row dot item bracket birth month, which is name of column dot toString. So after passing name and birth month, we have to click on get name. So let's drag one click activity, highlight the element. Okay. Now after passing the name, let's suppose Priyanka and March, we have to capture the unicorn name as well. Okay. So let's use one get text activity to capture the name. Let's drag here. Let's indicate element and let's scrape this. So now we have captured the unicorn name for a respective name and we have to store it back to the data table that we have created. So let's assign the value to the data table by accessing current row dot item, then the column name, which is unicorn name, and click OK. So this will store the value which we have captured from the unicorn name generator to the data table. So we have our data table ready with us, and this data table consists name, birth month, and unicorn name. So we have to write this data table back to the Excel sheet. To do that, we will be dragging right range activity of Excel sheet outside the for each loop, and we have to pass the data table name, which is unicorn name, and we have to check the add headers, and we are done. So let's save this. Let's close the opened Excel. So now we have nothing in the Excel sheet. Unicorn name is blank. And let's run the workflow. So now it is entering the name one by one and it is capturing the unicorn name. And as we can see that our execution ended successfully. So let's go back to the project folder and refresh the project, and let's open the Excel sheet, and we can see that unicorn name has generated and written against the each name. So this is how you can get the data from Excel sheet, pass it on to the web page or website, and get the result and send it back to the Excel sheet. So let's move on to the next use case. So the next use case is to scrape the IPL schedule with the help of data scraping. Now IPL is going on and many of IPL fans might be watching this video. So this use case is for you. So every time when IPL schedule get announced, my cousin used to print the schedule and stick it on the wall so that he could not miss any match. Nowadays, everything is getting digitized and automated. So I thought, why not to automate this use case? So the use case is we are going to extract the IPL schedule and store it into the Excel sheet. So let's start the implementation. So let's create the process. Let's say IPL schedule and click create. Let's wait for adding the dependency and creating the workflow. So let's drag one sequence over here and open browser. Let's select the browser type, Chrome, and let's provide this URL inside double quotation. Now let's click on data scraping and let's click on next and select the value. So it is saying you are selected the table cell and would you like to extract the data from whole table? So we'll say yes. And you can see that within a second we have extracted the whole IPL schedule. So let's click on finish. So it is asking, is data spanning multiple pages? As we are getting the whole schedule in single page, so we'll click on no. And our data is ready within the data table called extract data table. So let's drag one write CSV activity to write the data back to the Excel sheet. And let's provide the file name. Let's say IPL schedule.csv. And let's pass the data table that we have got from the data scraping activity, which is extract data table. And we are done. So let's save this and run this workflow. And we can see that our execution has been completed successfully. So let's go to the project. Let's refresh it. And we can see that IPL schedule CSV file here. Let's open this. So we can see that the whole schedule is getting extracted. Isn't it so quick? So this is how you can extract data from any web page or any document with the help of data scraping. So I have another video created on data scraping where I have scraped the data from Yahoo Finance page. So you can also watch that video. Also, after extracting all the details into the Excel sheet, we can either print it or we can set a reminder for a match so that we could not miss any match. So the next use case is getting the temperature of any city or country with the help of screen scraping. So we are searching the temperature of any particular city or a country in a Google, and we are extracting this temperature value from this page. So let's start the implementation. So let's create simple process. Let's say extract temperature. Click create. Let's wait for adding dependencies of the process. Let's go to the activity panel and drag one sequence. After that, let's drag one input dialog to ask user for a city, and let's enter the text, which is enter city name. Let's copy this and provide it as an input label. So let's create a variable by pressing Ctrl K called city. So it will hold the value of city entered by user. Now after that, let's drag one open browser activity. Then select Chrome as a browser type and provide the URL www.google.com. And here we have to search the temperature of city entered by user. So let's scrape this text box with the help of type into activity. and let's indicate the element. And here we have to provide the value, which is temperature of plus, then the variable called city, which will be entered by user, and then enter. So it will pass the temperature of city to this text box and it will hit the enter. So after that, we are getting the temperature value. For example, temperature of Pune. So we are getting this value. So we have to extract this value from this page. So let's try and get text activity. And let's highlight this element. So this will provide the value of temperature from this page. And let's see the selector. Selector is fine. So let's click on OK. And let's store this value we have captured from the page into some variable by pressing Ctrl K, and let's say temperature. So let's drag one message box activity to show the temperature that we have captured from the page. And we can pass the values such as temperature of plus sign of city, which is the variable entered by user, and is then the temperature value which we'll be getting from the page, then again plus degree Celsius. So let's save this workflow and run this. Let's enter the city name, suppose Mumbai. So it is writing at temperature of Mumbai and it will extract the value. So we can see that the temperature of Mumbai is 31 degrees Celsius. So this is how easily you can extract any data from any web page or a website with the help of screen scraping.
So the next use case is saving an attachments of bulk email within a specific folder. Suppose if you have a daily task to check your emails and to download the attachments and save it into the specific folder. If you automate it, it will save your time and robot can do the same for you within few seconds. So let's see how we can do it. I have three emails and I have three different attachment for each of the emails. So we are going to extract the attachment and we are going to save it into the specific folder. So let's go to the UiPath Studio. Let's create a simple process. Let's say save attachments. Click create. Let's drag one sequence over here. So let's first get the email with the help of get Outlook mail message activity. Drag here. So now we have to provide the account details. So we have to pass the email from which we have to extract the attachment. Now the mail folder will be inbox. So we have to extract the attachment only for unread emails. So we have to check this checkbox. Now let's create a variable for output. Let's say get mails. So we have to extract the attachment for all the emails present in the Outlook. For iterating all the emails, we have to drag for each activity over here. So let's select the type argument as, so let's search for the type system dot net dot mail, and then mail message. So this type we have to select as a type argument for each activity, which is system.net.mail.mail message. And we have to pass the get mail variable that we have created. So it will iterate all the emails one by one. And now we have to save the attachment. So to save the attachment, let's drag one, save attachment activity of a mail. So now we have to pass the item, which is a single mail. So we can access the single mail with the help of this item. And we have to pass the path where the attachment are going to save. So we have an attachment folder on the desktop. So let's copy the path of this folder and pass it here within the double quotation. Let's save this and let's run the workflow. So let's see the output, and the execution has been successfully ended. Isn't it so quick and easy? So let's check the folder, which is attachment in the desktop. And yes, we can see the attachment that has been saved from my Outlook account. So these are the example CSV. We can see that example CSV over here. And there is one PDF and there is one image. So this is how we can automate the mundane task, which took a longer time to do for a human. But if we automate it, bot can complete within a few seconds. And we have seen that it is very easy to automate such use cases. The next use case is file automation. Nowadays, we work on huge data, and the data is a crucial part of our life. So it has to be well organized, right? But if you have started organizing your file by creating a folder and moving files to respective folder, then it will take huge amount of time to do it, right? So here you can automate this process and move your files from one folder to another. No matter how many files you have, it can be done within very short time. So let's see how we can do it. So let's create one process for that and give a name, move files. Let's click create. Let's wait for restoring the dependencies, creating workflow and adding dependencies to it. In the last use case, we have stored the attachment in this attachment folder. So we are going to move these files to the another folder, which is destination. So let's go back to the UiPath Studio. Let's drag one sequence over here. So let's create some variable, which is source path. It is the path of a folder where all the files are stored, which we have to move. So let's copy this path where we have all the files to move and put it into the double quotes. Let's create the destination path. And it is the folder where we have to move the files. Let's copy the destination file path and provide it here. Let's create one more variable, which is file count, and it will be of string array because it will hold all the files within the folder. Click OK. So after creating variables, let's drag one assign activity, and here let's store all the files into this variable called file count, and we can access our file with the help of directory dot get files, and we have to pass the path of source folder, which is source path in our case. So after getting all the files within this variable, let's drag one message box activity for getting the count of files present in the folder. So let's say file count is, okay, within the double quotation, file count is, and the variable called file count dot to string. So this will give us the count of file present in the source folder. Now we have to move the folder one by one from source to destination. For that, we have to drag one for each loop, and we have to select the type argument as string, and we have to pass the variable called file count. And now we have to move each file from source to destination. So to move file, we have an activity called move file. Let's drag this here. And in from section, we have to pass the item, because we can access the single file with the help of this variable called item. And destination, we have already created a variable for destination path. So let's call this here, and let's save this workflow. And as we can see that destination folder is empty, let's run this workflow. The file count is 3, and we can see that the execution has successfully ended. Let's check the destination folder, and we can see that we have moved file from the attachment to destination, and we can see that the attachment folder is empty now, and all the file has been moved to destination folder. This is how you can move the file from one folder to another, no matter how many files you have. Also, you can use a different condition to move your file, like if you want to move the CSV file into a specific folder, if you want to move the PDF file into a specific folder, you can also do that. Or maybe if you want to move the files based on the date, and like this, easily you can move your files from one folder to another folder. I hope you found this video useful. These are the basic use cases for the beginner who wants to start RPA implementation. So you can try these use cases and try to modify these use cases by changing the conditions and so on. And in upcoming video, we are going to implement some more interesting use cases. So stay tuned with me. Till then, keep learning. Bye-bye.